Hi, everybody. My name is Katarina. I'm an Akashic Record reader, an energy practitioner, as well as a cosmic channeler. And today I am tapping in and channeling messages for Mercury in retrograde, what to expect energetically, practices to keep in mind that will help you during this time, suggestions for nutrition, as well as crystals for those who work with crystals to enhance the energy or soften the energy of whatever they're going through. So, to begin, Mercury in retrograde lasts from July 17th to August 10th. So, it's a little less than a month long. I currently am filming this on the 14th of July. So, there's only a couple days before Mercury in retrograde begins. And as we tap into Mercury in retrograde, I see a lot of energetic patterns. I see when I close my eyes, there is a lot of empowerment and freedom during this time. The idea of liberating yourself from your own unhealthy behaviors, liberating yourself from what from where you once thought you would be, and liberating yourself from the idea that your situation has to be fixed, that your situation is never going to change. So, when we see and tap into our future timeline, sometimes we feel like certain things are inevitable. This person's going to reach out at this time, or this is going to happen because I have that pattern within me. Or, of course, I'm going to go into a period of bankruptcy because that just tends to be something I attract in my life. When we feel like the victim to our circumstances, we cannot give ourselves the opportunity to rise above those circumstances because nothing is fixed. As an Akashic Record reader and as somebody who channels, I often tell my clients that we have free will and anything can change at any moment. So, whatever I am able to see based on perception and based on tapping into the energetic Akashic field, it can still change. The nature of how we approach it can still change. For example, we may have written in our contract to have a specific relationship with somebody, but that doesn't mean that the nature of the relationship cannot change. For example, if we were in a romantic relationship with somebody and it's very tumultuous and it's taking a lot of energy from us, we then can change the relationship to friendship with boundaries, or we can evolve that relationship to something where you both are at peace with what has happened between the two of you and you can move on. So, that is what I mean when I say certain things we cosmically contract before we reincarnate in this life, but at the same time, we can change our approach and maybe the severity of the challenge based on the way that we see ourselves. It always comes back to ourselves and how we love ourselves, how we honor ourselves, and how we treat ourselves on a daily basis. So, right now, I'm really called to remind people to drink water with lots of lemon because lemon alkalizes your water, and it also creates a more purified source in your energetic system. Because I'm seeing for those who I'm tapping in for, you are in requirement of more energy flow and more detoxification in every single organ in your body at this time. This is not to say you have some kind of illness, but instead it is to say that you just require more help physically to detox and flush out whatever that no longer serves you. I am also seeing during this time the need to set more consistent bedtimes. For example, it would be really important for the next 3 to 4 weeks. This is going into Mercury in retrograde time period to try to sleep at a regular hour. 11:30 could be a really good hour to sleep at this time. I am also seeing that when you are in conversation with others, when you are about to reach out to others that you have particularly challenging emotions with, or you feel like you keep attracting the same dynamic in every part of your life, this is a time to be very intentional about your communication and to be more of an observer instead of a speaker, because you will learn a lot from others. You will learn a lot from what they are sharing with you, and you will learn a lot about yourself during this Mercury in retrograde time. This Mercury in retrograde time is an amplification of so much energy already occurring in the planet. So it may feel like things are not going your way. It may feel like things are tumultuous, but the reality is we can change our reality by any time by seeing ourselves as a miracle and seeing our life as a miracle. Waking up every day is a miracle. Being able to have access to food is a miracle. Being able to have clothes and options of clothes to wear is a miracle. The The ability to have access to water is a miracle. So when you shift the way that you see your life, you don't think that things are happening to you, but instead things are happening for you. We have said this, and I have said this in many other channels that I have done on here. And for the Mercury in retrograde season, there is a lot of technological delays. And this is very common because when Mercury in retrograde, the purpose is for us to upgrade. So when there is an upgrade, there is so much energy in the field that we and our technology has a hard time catching up, and therefore it can create drama at times because we didn't send the email on time or the text came out wrong. So, this is a time to prepare for delays. Even in contracts, I see taking about a week to 2 week delay. Some of us, it may be longer than that, but to just be in a state of grace, to have grace for yourself and to have grace for others and to have grace for every situation you find yourself in. I am also seeing, in terms of other themes, there is a large connection to our relationship with sexuality. Sexuality is not just the everyday, um, when I talk about sexuality, it's not just the union of two bodies per se, but instead is the connection to our sacral chakra. Mercury in retrograde, the colors I see are red. So red connects to root, but it also seeps into sacral. And sacral is about what drives us, what brings us joy in life, what makes us feel excited to get up every day. So that is part of sexuality, because the healing that we are bringing in when it comes to sexuality is the fact that we are creative beings, and sexuality is a creative act per se. So when we are honoring the beauty that we carry in our bodies, when we see ourselves as constantly creating every day, we create with our actions, we create with our words, we create with our movement in our body. When we heal our relationship with sexuality, we are healing not only familial and ancestral patterns, but we are healing a part of us that feels like we are too scared to be vulnerable. Fear of vulnerability. Vulnerability during this time is being worked on, because when we decide to be vulnerable with others, it's not giving away our power. It is feeling like we have the power to show up as authentically as we can be. This is also bringing in the topic of crystals, crystals to use during the Mercury retrograde that can be really helpful. Hemimorphite. I am actually using a piece of hemimorphite as we're talking. Hemimorphite helps liberate us and create new beginnings during this time, stepping into new chapters. It's known as the Liberty Zone, so embodying the feeling of being liberated and not held back by any situation. I also see I particularly see fluorite being another crystal you can work with because mental clarity may feel very scattered during this time. So, rainbow fluorite would be really helpful to work with to promote mental clarity and to be very focused on our goals because even though we are having delays during Mercury in retrograde, we are also making a lot of progress, and we will be making a lot of progress in our career, in our abundance, in our relationship to love, specifically romantic love. And I also see relationship with nature being really important and also strengthening during this time. Orgonite is a really beautiful stone to work with because orgonite does help detox EMFs, which are electromagnetic fields we absorb from bones, we absorb from the screens. So when we work with orgonite, we are able to clear our vessel and help connect us back to nature because when we get addicted to having EMF, electromagnetic field overload, we have more aversion to not being outside, and even being outside can feel uncomfortable when we are too attached to our phones, too attached to being indoors. And any other crystals at this time, I'm also seeing the fairy stone, which is also known as, I cannot get the name, the fairy stone. I forget the name, but there's two names for it. But if you look up the fairy stone, working with the fairy stone is really going to help lighten the energy during this time because it's going to feel dense. It's going to feel overwhelming. And the fairy stone uplifts our energy and uplifts our soul to a higher plane. So we feel like things roll back off our back easier. We don't take things as personally. We see we see people as solely mirrors. So whenever somebody is upsetting you, it is just an opportunity for you to rise above the desire to be just as challenging with them or to even um, feel like you are inadequate because of the way that somebody is treating you. So, those are some really great stones to work with during this time. As I was saying, lemon water is really beneficial during this time. I also see eating more beets, the vegetable beetroots, whether in a salad or in a juice, is going to be really helpful to ground you into the earth and also is going to work with your creativity. If you feel like you're stagnant during this time, or if you even feel like your finances are stagnant, eating more beetroot or doing a juice. You could even do the beetroot powder if you don't really like the taste of beets. I personally do, but if you do not, you can definitely just find a way to add it into your routine for the next 3 to 4 weeks. I also see Swiss chard, and I don't want to say all leafy greens because I specifically see if you like Swiss chard or rainbow chard, that would be really great to add and incorporate into your diet. And then I also see, um, I even see cilantro. It was a C and I thought it was celery, but no, they're saying cilantro would be really good to add on top of things to add more. And because cilantro has a particular enzyme and has a particular compound, that is going to actually connect to the heart chakra, activate the heart chakra, and make you feel more compelled to be loving and compassionate. Because I feel like there are people who are going to really test your buttons, push your buttons during this time, and you're going to be like, whoa, what the hell? What the hell is going on? So, when people come to you with an opportunity to get upset, you then can mentally prepare yourself with not only the nutrients that I'm offering, but also doing the shadow work. The shadow work, knowing the way that we react when we feel like somebody is judging us is such power, so powerful, because then we are self-aware, and then when we are self-aware, we have the power to slowly change our reaction to life. And when we get really comfortable with the shadow, we also have a larger capacity to love ourselves. And the shadows coming in a lot. I see a lot of cycles of death, meaning not actual people dying, although that I don't see that as much as the case for the next couple of weeks, but more so a part of you is dying, a part of you is becoming buried with grace, because that part of you does not need to exist going in the next chapter of your life. It's time for you to shed that old identity of yours. I specifically see shedding an identity of feeling like you need to be smaller for others, feeling like you need to be accepted by others, feeling like you have to change in order for others to love you. And those are such sacred points that I'm seeing, because of how important it is for radical acceptance. Um, Somebody that's coming in really strongly is, I see two particular beings, one being a more masculine being, and I see that particular masculine being as Metatron. As you can see behind me, I love filming with the Merkaba, the sacred geometry, Metatron's cube, because Metatron represents releasing any energy that we have absorbed, not just in this lifetime, but in all lifetimes. Absorbing the ideas from other experiences, from relationships, even absorbing energy that does not belong to us. We are as a collective going through a period and a shift of identifying who you are outside of others' energy. And sometimes it can feel really hard, because some people don't always know that they're projecting their energy really loud, or they're not always aware of the energy that they're holding. So for those who are sensitive, we can absorb it and therefore think that that is ours, and it's not ours. And then the more, I actually see three beings that are now coming in. The other second being is Merlin. So Merlin, for those who connect with Merlin or those who know about Merlin, most people know him as like a wizard during the like Arthurian times. And Merlin is somebody who reminds you that there's magic in every moment, that you are a magical being, and Merlin is working with you to help you understand that you belong only to you. So sometimes when we get in relationships or when we have attachments, platonic or romantic, we say that person is mine, or I belong to that person, because we feel like we gave our hearts away to that person, or this is my parent or my etc., or I'm somebody else's daughter or child. So he is helping us as a collective. Merlin is helping us honor the fact that we are sovereign beings. As sovereign beings, our actions are our own, We do not belong to anybody, and nobody belongs to us. We give permission to others to be in our lives the same way they give permission to us to be in their lives. We are just coexisting with each other, but we have no true ownership over another person. Instead, we only belong to ourselves. We only own ourselves, which I think is a really awesome message that's coming through. The third, the third feminine being is Lilith. Lilith is a misunderstood being because often she's seen as dark, and she is actually somebody who represents boundaries when you feel violated, when you feel like your energy was encroached upon, like you feel like somebody else is trying to own you. Lilith is is a biblical being, meaning she was mentioned in the Bible and she's often demonized in the Bible. But Lilith's story is being shared and is coming up because Lilith was was one of the few women that chose not to submit, that chose to be her own person. And when we work with Lilith energy, we tend to feel more unapologetic for our desires, for our wants, and Lilith works with us to give us and strengthen our spine, strengthen our solar plexus. She connects to our heart and lets us know that even if that love does not equate to loyalty, and that love does not equal power, because at times when we love somebody, we give them power in the sense that we can be very vulnerable with them. And so when we work with Lilith, she reminds us that love is meant to be an equal exchange of energy between people, and that we are meant to listen and hear others the same way we're meant to listen and hear ourselves. So it's interesting, whoever needs to hear this, that person that you think is for you is not somebody that you need to pursue at this time. And I also see that to just surrender to whatever God is trying to communicate with you, surrender to what the universe desires for you. It's going to take time. And Mercury in retrograde, they say people from our past come back. And I think that's probably why that's coming up, is when somebody from your past is entering into your life again or trying to. Lilith is working with you right now to help you identify who is being dishonest with you and who is not for your highest good and not headed where you're going. So with all of that information, I hope this was really helpful. And if there's anything that you have any comments or questions about, please feel free to let me know in the comments, and like and subscribe if you really connected with me and you feel guided to future messages I will be offering. I believe the next video I will be filming is the one of the new moons or full moons that is in July. So thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful Mercury in retrograde season. I'm sending you lots of love and light and blessings.